Glad to have you back. Now, how far should the war against drug abuse be taken? Well, for the Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi II, all public officers and traditional rulers should be compelled by law to undergo drug tests.
Now, he says if governors and other top government officials are made to undergo the test, the fight against drug use will be taken seriously by all. Now, the Emir said the move will ensure that everybody found wanting would not be allowed to hold political office and traditional leadership positions. All right, now we have joining us in the studio, public affairs commentator Olisa, Sam Olisa, joining us now. Sam, good morning. It's nice to see you.
Good morning, Mike.
And compliments of the season.
I sent it to you.
Well, when we read the comments or the reports from the Emir of Kano, a lot of Nigerians tend to agree with him to say, yeah, I think a lot of political office holders and traditional rulers should go through some kind of tests for drugs and tests for psychological balance and all of that. What's your take on this when you read the report? Yeah,
coming from the Emir of Kano himself, I think it's a good thing because I have known him for a long time. Apart from the fact that we work together, because he's a factual man. I've known him from our Icon days. We were colleagues in Icon Limited Merchant Bankers. And he's a man who doesn't miss words. And he meant exactly what he said. It doesn't matter who's God. Lamido Sanusi, Lamido, His Royal Highness, will tell you the truth. And looking at the country today, compare to where we're coming from. When we look at the foundation leaders at independence, the Awolowos, the Saudanas, the Nnamdi Azikiwes, their behavior, their vision. They are men of vision, you know, the future. Look at what Awolowo did for the Southwest. You will know that this is somebody whose thinking is quite disciplined. Then coming to modern society, look at the governors, our administrators, you will see that some of them behave like drug addicts. Some of them, the way they speak in the public, the way they conduct themselves is terrible. Even some of them don't even have vision. Coming to comparing, looking at the modern administration, if you look at Lagos State, for instance, it's a metropolitan state. Starting from 1999 when Tinubu was the governor to lay a new foundation, he had that vision. And that is what we are still enjoying today. If the foundation was not laid for him to bring in people that could grow the state alongside with the population growth, we wouldn't have what we have today. But looking at what happened in some other states, you will discover that there was no vision. You now find out, you now look, ask yourself, are these people really human beings? Let's use a family, a nuclear family as a basis of our discussion. If the father of the family is a drug addict, he will not be thinking of the future of the family. He will be thinking of what he will get that day to satisfy his drug requirement.
Okay, so in essence, you're saying that if this is introduced into this system, it would help in the
long way, of course.
Leadership that springs up in the
country. It will go a long way. Before you put somebody on a position of responsibility, you have to find out whether he's thinking, whether his state of mind is drug-free. Because if it is not drug-free, it will be behaving in the extreme. You know, there will be no planning, there will be no vision. So you have to, it is very, very key for traditional rulers, governors, every position, give everybody drug test. Just like we do in sports. You know, in sports, they go through drug. There must be a reason for discipline. You know, so that we can play the rule according, we can play the game according to the rule of the game.
All right, now, especially now that we have had various reports of some senators and some governors having drug cases related to drugs in the United States, in other parts of the world, and all of that leveled against them. But how, well, if we bring it back to the issue and somehow these people are subject, and anyone who wants to contest for anything is subject to a drug test. Apart from the drug, aren't there other areas that can make anyone become arrogant or make anyone act extreme?
Yes, apart from the drug, you see, when human being, when you acquire wealth through shortcut, you look down on other people. Nigerians, generally, when there is money, you see, what you have in politics is money, power. Money and power, they go together. Look at the politics in Nigeria. Wow, we are complaining now that the governors control the parties. Look at what just happened in the PDP.
So it could mean that some of them are high or drunk on wealth.
No, apart from drug, money. When people make money, they see politics as a way of making money. And their accounts, both local, foreign account, assets, are swelled up. You know, they can prop up and begin to think that they are God or mini-God. And that is what is happening in Nigeria today, where the governors will decide. For instance, let me give you an example. A political party is supposed to have members. All members are supposed to play on equal playground. But governors, you cannot tell me that Nigeria today, the governors are the money bags. You see, we are talking of what makes people behave. Apart from drug, drug is part of it. What makes them behave abnormally? Money, wealth, when it is acquired
in the wrong way.
In the wrong way, in the shortcut. So you see the way the governors behave when it comes to.
I think a lot of Nigerians will agree with you, because exactly. When you see, if you check the Forbes list and you see the richest men in the world, check their disposition. Some of them are really very simple, very approachable, very humble people, and all of that. So I think Nigerians will agree with you on that. But if we get to the issue of the legality, because the Emir of Kano was saying that we should make it part of us. Should this be a moral thing, or it should even be a legal thing where it is inculcated into the system itself?
It should be moral.
Okay.
We start from moral aspect. But when people are not behaving, behaving abnormally, then we now bring in legality. A football team or an athlete must undergo drug tests. Either before.
It's part of the system.
Yes, part of the system. Either before or after the competition. Particularly when the athlete, grows up outstanding performance. You remember a lot of athletes in the past, they were dethroned, even after collecting gold medals.
Trophies, exactly.
So after going to the drug test,
in fact, if Russia
right today, they are banned for the Winter Olympics because it became a state thing that all the majority of the athletes are prepared by drug. So if you use that as where we are coming from, then bring it to other aspects of our life, including governance, either at governmental, electoral level, including governance in the area of what do you call monarchy. So we also introduce such things.
Well, some would tell you
there will be discipline. There will be normal behavior. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, things that are ordinarily supposed to be done, morally, you begin to look at what is wrong here, what is going on here.
It's not supposed to be rocket science.
That's why the EMA is now saying, okay, let everybody go through the drug test.
Okay, yeah. That is happening in sports, international sports, because there is a standard body in place that is very effective and does periodic checks on these athletes. But then some would tell you that in Nigeria, even if that is put in the law, and then it is mandated that all public office holders must undergo drug tests, that somehow, someone somewhere would still be able to circumvent it.
We're coming back to corruption. that is a recurring.
Nigerians are very recurring
factor.
Maybe there could be the issue of pay the officials and give me a good, clean report.
Let me give you an example. From Lagos to Abidjan, on the international route, 80% of the vehicular movement are by Nigerians, either commercial or private. But immediately after Seme border, you will see that Nigerians behave normally because they feel that we are in somebody else's country where someone else can fuck them up if you misbehave.
The rule applies.
Thank you. Where the rule applies. The problem we have in Nigeria is that the rule does not apply. Look at how many cases have EFCC arrested this, EFCC arrested that, and the people are still walking free on the street. That is the problem. I'm not saying we should not introduce drug tests, but we still go back to the normative. Does the rule apply here? That is the question.
But if we have to start this now, for instance, because we have spoken to a lot of Nigerians concerning this. We listened to lots of reactions from Nigerians when the emir came up with this, and there seemed to be a lot of support for it. But even though it's not going viral necessarily, but when it comes to comments, yes, I support it, it's a good call and all of that. If we have to start this now, for instance, where should it really start from? If we have to implement it now to say, okay, it's going to be part of our system, who should implement and where should it start from?
You are asking me that. Well, in my own opinion, if we want to start it, let it start from the emir himself.
Okay.
When
he should submit himself for drug tests.
He said so. Anyway.
He said so.
Yes.
He said
and I think he will do that.
He said he's
I know him very well. He will do that. Then the other first class, Obas, Emirs, all of them, down the lane. Then we now come to ministries, parastatals, departments, our governors. If you do drug tests for these, our governors, I'm sure 80% may not say true. So let it go on and on like that, man. Particularly the next election, 2018. Let it be part and parcel. Before anybody obtains form, let it be one of the conditions that you have to be tested in a public hospital, not in a private, facility, because Nigerians always pay their way through. So if you can do that, let's even see. But I can assure you, there is one way or the other it will be circumvented by Nigerians.
Okay,
the Nigerian factor.
Yes, the emir also said something that public office holders and most of Nigerian leaders too somehow don't support the system, the security system, because they know where to go when they want bodyguards, but somehow they surround themselves with thugs and bodyguards that abuse drugs willy-nilly.
I think it's speaking reality. You see, it's very unfortunate. Let me give an example. There was a time in my life I was involved in a business, logging, where you go and you log for export. For you to get, I was told, each time, let them load the lorry, they will tell me the loaders will be required to take drugs. I said, what? Before they do their work? So I hands off. I just left that job. So bringing that to what I've just said, you see, Nigerian money bags, they surround themselves with thugs. And these thugs, they don't just behave ordinarily. Even though we have the police, the conventional forces there. But the real thing for their day-to-day, you will see the Orisas. And the Orisas are not ordinary, they don't operate on ordinary pedestrian. They are drugs.
All right.
Very unfortunate.
Now, the emphasis is on, from what the emir said, is on political leaders and all of that. But if we bring it back to Nigerians ourselves, away from political office holders, away from traditional rulers and all of that, a lot of people get themselves involved in drugs. Even in parts of the country where people take cough syrup, people exactly, and all of that. Yes, now we've heard now that the House of Reps is telling NAFTA to ban codeine.
Yeah, you see, it's a terrible thing. It's scary. If you know what is going on there, it's scary. So that is why we now come to family. Every family has responsibility on this issue. Because when students cannot read without taking stimulant, that's where it starts from. During our own time, you burn the light in the night, you read what you know, you put it there. Our teacher used to tell us, if you don't understand it, cram it. In a situation where you cram Julius Caesar from cover to cover. But people are not ready to do that again. So it starts from the family. The family has responsibility. The church has responsibility. In those days, when you get to school in the morning, you have morning assembly, where the teachers, the principal, the students come together. After prayer, morning prayer, issues of discipline, those that are the previous day are brought out openly and punished, corporal punishment, or disgrace, or given additional punishment. So there was discipline. The issue of family. Now parents leave their wards for school alone. They don't have time. Do you how many fathers have time to sit down with their children? That is the issue. So the issue is not meant for the schools alone. It's not meant for the police alone. It's not meant for the church alone. Everyone. It is a network. Let's go back to the basics.
All hands.
How it used to be.
All hands must be on deck
Exactly.
to raise the best individuals to chart the future of the nation to the right direction. Thank you very much for your analysis at this time.
Thank you.
Olisa, your public affairs commentator. Thank you for coming and Merry Christmas.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
It's
thank you
glad
so
to be
much.
here.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, same to you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go on a break now. When we come back, the Senate is asking the federal government to hold out, don't sell national assets, the National Theatre and the Tafawa Balewa Square yet. We don't want that. Keep it. It is a symbol of our national heritage. We'll talk about that when we come back. Stay with us.